Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Occult Empire. I am your host, Bob from Cincinnati, and tonight is a great night lined up for Occult Empire. This is Occult Empire episode 006 for Monday, April 23rd, and once again, I welcome everybody for showing up. As stated, this is a cannot-miss show. This is going to be a groundbreaking episode on the Rosicrucian mystery tradition with Mark Passio. And tonight we are going to delve into everything esoteric about Rosicrucianism, or Rosicrucians, or the Rosicrucian tradition. And that was kind of a difficult search term when I did some research over the last month. I'd like to preface that the information that I present this evening will be exoteric material, to be sure. And that's why I am so jazzed about this evening, because Mark Passio, for the first time, is going to start to share his information on Rosicrucian, the Rosicrucian mystery tradition, or the mystery school for the Rosicrucians. And so this is exciting, and I told him off air that I am honored that he will use Occult Empire as the vehicle to do that. So once again, I'm thanking Mark for showing up. You have reached us this evening on Antimatter Broadcasting, which is the new channel for its sister ship, the Antimatter Zone Network. So welcome aboard, so to speak, if you made it. If you just made it to Antimatter Zone Network, be sure to stop on over to Antimatter Broadcasting, where other shows can be found there. All the new shows for Antimatter Zone Network will be found at Antimatter Broadcasting. We might move back to Antimatter Zone Network on Blog Talk. It just depends. But it was nice to mix it up and open the door a little bit. As stated, tonight's topic, the Rosicrucian mystery tradition. What Rosicrucian? What does that mean? We've heard that term for so long. The Rose cross, the Rose cross, a red cross, or a cross with a rose in the center of it. What does this mean? I'm still trying to discern all this, to be honest with you. If we go back in the history a touch, or a bit, quite a few hundred years, to be honest with you, there were three documents that were released successively in the years 1614, 1615, and 1616 in Germany that shocked the reading public. And of course, you know, that was a smaller public back then. But these three esoteric documents hit the scene in Germany, in the heart of Europe, and it shocked the reading crowd. They were called the Fama Fraternitatis of 1614, the Confessio Fraternitatis of 1615, and the Chemische Hochzeit von Christiani Rosenkreuz. I'll break that down as the chemical wedding, or I should say the alchemical wedding of Christian Rosenkreuz, of the Rose and Cross fame, because in German, Kreuz translates as cross. Of course, rose is easy to catch there. But this was shocking to people. It seemed that an esoteric order had plunged through the veil to reveal some mysteries to the reading public in Europe at that time. And it, like I said, it was a shocker. And I'm wondering if Passio will be able to comment on these. If not, no worries, because I know his material has more to do with the spiritual nature, which can I veil my hunger to hear it? And I'm going to kind of lay back this evening a bit, only interjecting intermittently with the information that I've gleaned to kind of give some historical backdrop to his information. But as stated, I am stoked to hear what Mark has to say. So when these documents hit the people in Germany in the early 1600s, let me read a little paragraph from the one, Confessio Fraternitatis of 1615. Quote, "What think you, loving people, and how seem you affected, seeing that you now understand and know that we acknowledge ourselves truly and sincerely to profess Christ, condemn the Pope, addict ourselves to the true philosophy, lead a Christian life, and daily call, entreat, and invite many more unto our fraternity, unto whom the same light of God likewise appeareth." So it was a call out to others to join this hidden fraternity. And that's one thing I've gathered reading all this Rosicrucian material over the last month, is that it's a looser knit fraternity. It's not the hard line, it's not the linear angle of masonry, so to speak. It's more of a soft circular curve than the hard right angle of masonry, if I could make a very poor analogy. And so these seem to be I've heard it termed as the invisible brotherhood, the Rosicrucians. Some have said that the Royal College or the Royal Society in England was precursored by the Rosicrucians, that it was basically founded by this invisible college of Rosicrucians. And I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm trying to discern all this as well. So I ask others to seek out this information and to make heads or tail of it. One of the more modern Rosicrucian histories was written by an author by the name of Christopher Mackintosh, M-C-I, N as in Nancy, T as in Tom, O, S as in Sam, H. His book, The Rosicrucians, The History, Mythology, and Rituals of an Esoteric Order. I just wanted to read a quote out of his book. I think it kind of sums up a bit of the mystery. Quote, "The durability of Rosicrucianism has partly to do with the appealing quality of the rose-cross motif. The rose and cross individually have been given various interpretations. In Christian symbolism, they are sometimes found representing the Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ, as in a prayer inspired by the Litany of Loreto, which refers to the rose as flower of the cross, pure womb that blossoms over all blooming and burning, sacred rose, Mary." So it was, it has a real Christian connotation to it. Now, Mark and I brought up the famed alchemist Carl Jung on the last episode of that we did together, which was Occult Empire, episode 003, Mark Passio, Alchemy. And I hope that's a part one. I haven't really had time to discuss it with Mark, but I hope that's a part one, and that we could expand a little bit further. But Carl Jung, the famed alchemist, is written by Christopher Mackintosh, quote, "has shown that the rose is a symbol lying deep in the collective unconscious, which represents the maternal womb," once again the womb theme, "and perfection achieved by balance." Aha! And I'm wondering if that sounds familiar. A balancing of the hemispheres, a balancing of the Kabbalistic pillars to the center, or middle chamber, as my good new friend Frater X, his show is called The Middle Chamber. But the cross, that was my own interjection, quote again, "The cross is an equally deep-seated symbol linked with the tendency for man's inner consciousness to seek fourfold patterns. It appears in mythologies all over the world. In its Christian manifestation, it symbolizes suffering and sacrifice." And I'm wondering if that holds water for Mark. Now, the last piece that I would like to interject before we go into the intermission to pull Mark Passio on, what of the rose cross as symbolized by the arch nemesis of William Cooper, the Knights Templar? Aha, knights in white satin. Oh my gosh, I apologize for singing that to you. But that theme has to do with the rose cross on a white woolen tunic. Yes, a rose cross. And so out of all my reading, I have yet to find a correlation or correspondence or relationship between Rosicrucianism and the Knights Templar. Now, of course, the Knights Templar are, all part of the esoteric mystery, so they have to be connected in some way. But as to the direct connection between the Rose Cross of the Knights Templar and the Rosy Cross of the Rosicrucians, I've yet to find any linkage, and I'm hoping, once again, that Mark might be able to expand upon this. So it is a mystery, and that's why they call it the mystery schools, but I think that the school is coming into session, and it's best that we just bring Mark Passio on. And indeed, the Fire Witch has been summoned back, but this time, instead of the court of the Crimson King, it is indeed the court of Occult Empire. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring back with great pleasure and honor my friend and mentor, Mark Passio.
Bob, thanks so much for having me back to Occult Empire. It's a pleasure, as always, to be here.
Oh, it is our honor, sir, and pleasure every time. Mark, I made it very clear in my introduction that I am still a fumbling student in the world of the Rosicrucian mystery or the Rosicrucian tradition. And I'm hoping that this evening you'll be able to clarify and expose and expand that rose on that cross that is an enigma to most of us this evening. I hope you can do that, sir.
I will do my absolute best to do that, as I will attempt to do in revealing some of the other allegories and symbols of this great mystery tradition known as Rosicrucianism. And I'll start by basically saying that it is indeed an occult tradition. Occult, of course, meaning hidden, derived from the Latin occultare, meaning to hide or to keep secret. And it is simply occult or hidden knowledge. And we have to first make the distinction that, of course, only means that it has heretofore been kept secret or it is not generally known. And that does not imply that it is necessarily bad or evil in any way. This is often a misinterpretation by many people, and many people are turned off when they hear the word occult. That's a form of mind control in and of itself, which pushes people away from delving into some of these traditions and really getting to the alchemical gold at the center of these traditions, which could really help us to improve the quality of our life and really understand things so much better about how the universe really operates and really get to the heart of how we operate, because that's what this tradition is actually all about. It is about self-knowledge, learning about the self, learning about our motivations and desires and wants and you know, the things that we need to do to change our behavior such that a quantum shift will take place in our reality, and our quality of life and our conditions that we're experiencing in life will change for the better. So with that having been said, what people really need to first understand about the Rosicrucian tradition or the Rosicrucian mysteries in general is that it is the esoteric Christian tradition. It has deep ties with the original Christian tradition, okay? And it also goes back even much older than that, because the true Christic tradition goes back to before the time of the turn of the 1st century, when the teacher known as Jesus or the Christ was said to have lived. These teachings are indeed even more ancient than that and go back for thousands of years, right back into the human ancient past, into Egypt, the alchemical traditions of the Middle East and Egypt, and far beyond that in time. These are ancient mystery traditions that have been taught by word of mouth and by written language as well for thousands of years. And the teacher in the Middle East that people call Jesus and ascribe the Christ consciousness to definitely inspired many of these teachings, and this is the esoteric variation or interpretation of those teachings, not the exoteric. So we have to make a clear delineation between those two concepts. Exoteric is what is told to the uninitiated. It is sort of a cover story, or something that doesn't really hit the bullseye, so to speak. It doesn't get down to the heart of the matter or to the center of the mandala, if you will. It skirts the issue because it is sort of a reservation of the real meat for the people who want to go further into the allegory, into the symbols, and understand what they really mean and what they're really saying about the human condition, what they really say about us. Secondly, you know, exoteric teachings can be used for a methodology of control. You can keep back the real inner core teachings if you are so inclined to do that, and reserve them for only a small, select, or elect group of individuals. And in keeping that esoteric knowledge, the real meat, in other words, you would be depriving other people of knowledge that could serve them and better them and enhance their consciousness.